Good afternoon. Happy Sunday. Shaggy SoCal with 2Old4Forza, and I'll do that again in a second, but I'm going to reset the headset to get the sound and and video synced up. There we go. I accidentally hit the mic, but I had to clear my throat. So, Shaggy SoCal 2Old4Forza, and heading into the final week of races in this 1976 Ferrari 312. Uh, in Matt putting together the schedule, clearly we're doing the West Coast U.S. swing. Race one looks like it's at here at Laguna Seca. And then for race two, we had a couple hours south down to sunny Southern California for the Long Beach Grand Prix. So we'll start here with Laguna. Um, General notes on Laguna is, well, again, I've mentioned how this car, I do like the 70s F1 cars as far as the handling, though I think I like them more a controller because I can chuck the car into the corners. But it has grip, it has mechanical grip, just not as much as we'd want. It's got aero grip, just not as much as we want. And if there is a circuit this season that will remind you pretty much every turn that it doesn't have as much grip as you'd want, it's going to be Laguna. So for this track guide, I'm just going to head out. I'll do a couple out laps. Pardon my nose itch here. Then I will. Then I'll do kind of the track walk. Point out again. For the most part, I look for pretty much the same things no matter what car I'm in. But then it's really tying it down to, well, what's different with this car? What do we have to watch out for? And then I'm going to do my practice against the AI and what I think the race length is going to be, and see how well I do. But with that, let me go ahead and get started with the test drive. All right, so technically, this left cresting the hill is technically turn one. The hairpin is turn two, the Andretti hairpin. Second gear corner, I'm a little off the apex there. Gently roll into the throttle up, out to the left side. Oop, I was not turned all the way it needed to be there. Third gear, I was actually surprised how much we're going to use third gear here. But that's a good thing and also something to watch out for. But here down fourth, down to third, starting to head up the hill. Turn five. Let's use a little bit of that inside curving, heading up the hill, up the Rahal straight to turn seven and the corkscrew. Still trying to figure out the braking here. Second gear in the corkscrew, turn 8A. Short shift to third. Let the car do the work. Late apex there. Third, fourth. Back down to third. Hook the inside. Careful getting back to the throttle. And then second gear for the last corner. Gentle back onto the throttle into straight. Gotta watch wheel spin. Rear wheel spin is going to be very interesting here. Let's do one more lap here. Be a little bit wide of the first apex and trying the late apex the second one. And I say try. I probably turned in a little bit early compared to the braking line. And short shift to fourth there if you want. And that might be better. I'm all the way up to fifth because I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. Back down to third. The hill. Oh, that was way too early of a turn in. Car just slides a little bit there at seven. And again, I went stabby with the throttle, even in third gear, and got the back end to kick out. And there, a little bit of wheel spin. And it's so slight. that it can sneak up on you if you're not paying attention. So that's pardon the nose itch there. That is just 2 outlaps of Laguna. So let's break down here. So this is technically turn one, heading down the hill toward the Andretti hairpin. Braking for turn one. As far as the static reference points that I look at in addition to the braking line, is it seems to line up with, you can kind of see how the road here, we have the change in the pavement on the other side of the white line where we're getting into the turn. That's usually, at least for me, that's a good reference as far as saying, that's the point in overturn. It's like if you're getting the brakes past that, hmm, too much cocaine. No, I'm kidding. But if you're getting the brakes past that point, you're probably going to go into the gravel trap. So again, I use that change in pavement as kind of an additional reference. For me, this is down to second gear. It's one of the at least three places that I'll be in second gear on Laguna. Now, for the Andretti hairpin, two schools of thought here, depending on what your preference is. And I haven't settled on what I think I'll do. I think I'm going to do. I'm going to treat it as a dual apex, where kind of what the curving shows. On the way in, I'm probably going to get very close to the red curb there, maybe on the curving a little bit, kind of crest down into the hairpin, and then try to hug, and then try and late apex this one on the way out. The other school of thought is maybe you set up a little bit wider and you're off the first apex a little bit so that you can get the car rotated and pointed a little more straight a little bit later. Maybe not quite here, but it might just be out a little bit and a little bit more turned left. Um, that might allow you to get back on the gas a little bit sooner. But because if, like, I'm in third here at the moment, if you're in second gear for this corner, even coming out, regardless of which line you take through here, you really need to be careful how fast you get back to the throttle. You really want to have that steering wheel mostly straight, or straight by the time you really commit back to the throttle. Because again, Laguna Seca, it is historically, I mean, this is pre-repave Laguna Seca, so it's historically a low grip, high deg track, and this car really shows on this car. I was kind of surprised some of the wheel spin I was getting, even in third. But as it kind of flattens out here, roll back into the throttle. Ideally, what I'm trying to line up, as long as it's there, is I'm trying to line up the exit to where I'm pointed. As you can, if you're looking straight ahead, I don't look all the way up high at the building that's there, up on the other side of the front stretch. Usually, I'm focusing on the braking boards that are straight ahead of me. So you've got I think that's the 3 board there on the left, just before the tire bundles, and then you've got the 2 board that's kind of in between. So I'm trying to aim. Ideally, I'm trying to draw a straight line that kind of intersects close to the curving on the right side, but pointed towards that 2 sign. Now that's probably a little too straight, because I'm going to have to turn a little bit as I get there, but at least gives me something to coming out of the hairpin to get the car pointed at, to get it in the right direction. But as you get closer, what I want to try and do is I'll probably cheat a little bit. Maybe, it's a 4 board, not it's a 4 board, 3 board. I'm probably going to cheat a little bit, maybe bring it, before the first board, maybe even using the tire bundles, but I want to try and get it to the left as soon as I can. I don't want to still be pointed towards the curving as I get to it. I want to try and kind of split the difference and just have the car mostly parallel with the left side of the track by the time I get to the outside curving here, because I guarantee that 3 board is going to be gone during the race. And which, by the way, the last Forza monthly, Chris said that stuff like that, if it gets knocked over, will get reset. Thank you. That would be very helpful. But braking for, let's see, for turn 3 here, again, I'm going to try and get the car back across. I'm going to try, I won't always succeed, but I'm going to try and get it as parallel with the left side of the track as I can by the time I get to this curving. Because it is a quick break, still third gear, into third. You can already see I took out the 2 board. Turn in is a little bit late. I will probably, more often than not, turn in too early. But third gear, get the braking done, off, roll the car in. Again, because we do get a little bit of, there's just a smidgen, a little bit banking in, but it'll flatten out on the way out. Again, because it's a low grip surface, the front of this car is going to push a lot more than I think most of the other tracks we've raced this season. So you're going to notice that more. I mean, I pointed out at Cops was at Silverstone was a turn that very easy to feel the car, the front end of the car just push out. Laguna, it's almost every corner the car's going to push. So the car will understeer a little bit here. I'm usually not committing back the throttle. If I do this right, I'm actually going to apex past the red curbing on the right side. And I'm going to try and use as much of the inside curbing as I can. More often than not, when you watch me during the mock race, I'll probably cross over the suggested line, either before or after. But usually I turn in too early. But gently rolling the throttle, still third gear, let the car come out, heading down towards turn 4 again. You know, I you know I try to use the braking boards as reference again in Forza 7. I guarantee those are going to get knocked down, so it's going to be. I really don't have any other static reference that I can get my eyes to use consistently. I'm used to looking for the boards, but it is the braking for turn 4 is about the 2 board, brake, 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 and I'm not jamming the brake. Usually, what I'm doing is I'm braking gently enough, harsh enough but gently enough, so that I'm releasing the brakes right about the 1 board, and as I get past the curbing, that's the turn in. Now, because of the understeer, ideally, I'm going to try and use as much of this inside curbing at turn 4 as I can. As you saw my out laps, I was off the curbing both laps because the car I haven't quite sorted out the understeer yet as far as getting a feel for adjusting my turn in or entry speed for it. But if I do it right, I can late apex, I can use a bunch of this curbing here to roll back in the throttle. And if you do it late, the car's a little bit straighter, I can probably start rolling into the throttle a little sooner once I get past the apex. But I also still have to be relatively progressive in how I get back to the throttle. This is one you really don't want to stabby out of these corners. Even the fast ones, if you think, I'm in third gear, what could go wrong? I've had occasions already just in practice laps I've done where I still have a little bit of steering in, and as I'm getting to the throttle, as it kind of crests over the crown of the road, I haven't changed the steering angle at all, and I'm almost full throttle, and I could just see the car continue to turn to the right, and it starts coming back across the track. So just be mindful of it. That wheel spin happens late. If you're going to get wheel spin in third out of 4, it's going to happen late as you're getting to the side of the track. The car will start to skate back across. Just quick flip of the wheel or just off on the throttle should take care of it. So third gear, fourth gear, braking, and I totally forget where I brake here. I think usually the Mother's Bridge, the pedestrian bridge, is a good reference point. It's probably just past that. Fourth gear back down to third. Same thing. I'm going to turn in. I'm going to try and use as much of the inside curving as possible. I get my eyes up, and it's hard to see on this version with the lighting, but I'm looking at the shack there. Let me just get it into a better position where I can point it out. That shack that's now just under the rearview mirror. That's usually I'm not trying to aim to take the car straight across for that track, but at least it gets my eyes up and gives me a general sense of where I want to get the car out, out of this corner, where I want it. I want to be on the right side of the track pointed up the hill, right about the time that shack's to my right. So it helps get my eyes up, bring the car out, up the left side here, third gear, fourth gear, cross under the Mazda bridge here. Braking for turn 6 is really right about the 2 board. I don't know. I'm just going to take a quick look around here. I don't know that again, this is where the over-reliance on the braking boards here. There's really nothing else you can go off of. I mean, you can kind of use the bridge as like, okay, I'm getting close to braking. Maybe it's the Pepsi sign. If that braking board goes bye-bye, maybe it's the Omni Graphics sign. But, again, I try to point out the reference points if you're following somebody closely and you can't see the braking line to know where you have to brake. Hopefully a lot of us have done enough laps here that we can kind of do this by feel as well. But again, for me, third gear, fourth gear, quick downshift, put it into third. And this is the fastest way through this corner is to get this car turned in, and you want to use as much of this inside curving as you can. I mean, obviously, if you've got good banking coming in, but you can even kind of see on the way out. You want to use this banking on the inside of the corner on the curbing to get through it to be able to carry speed. Because you can see as it kind of, again, it's going to flatten out, it's going to actually crown. If you're off that apex, if you turn in too early and you cross over, or you turn in late and you're off this inside curbing enough, the car is going to push wide. You're not going to have the benefit. You're going to be on the crown. It's going to push the car wide out. You're going to have to hold off the throttle a little bit longer before you can roll back in. So try and abuse this curbing. Obviously, don't go all the way to the red curb. Just use the blue and white because it'll keep you within track limits. So still third gear. Bring the car out. Laguna's actually pretty curb friendly, so you could probably get a couple tires there. Just really on the exit, try and be neat and tidy. You don't want to flirt with the sand because it will just. And we've all gone off here over the years. We know what it does. So, getting towards the most challenging part of the track, heading up the Rahal Straight to turn 7, that leads into the corkscrew. Braking for me, I'm going to use a little bit of the inside curb, and this is all about, you just kind of have to trust where things are at. So usually I'll use a little bit of the inside curb. I'm using braking, I think once I get comfortable, I'm using the end where the white curbing ends in a point is about where I'm going to be getting on the brakes for turn 7 that crests the hill into the corkscrew for 8 and 8A. So go up here, we'll hit the brakes. And what I'm trying to do, and again, the braking boards are going to be knocked over, I'm sure, within the first couple of laps because we're all going to be all over the place, including me. But I've seen two different approaches of getting through 7 and setting up for the corkscrew. I'm not sure. I have my tendency. I know what I will probably do more often than not. And maybe in this car it is the better line. I don't know yet. But so I'm gonna do the first one. What I usually try to do is I'll use the inside curbing, set the car up so I'm going to be braking across the track. And I've been braking in 2 phases. So it's the first brake, and probably once I get comfortable, I'll be off the brake a little bit, have the car lined up so it's on the right side of the course, and then I brake again from 4th down to 2nd, set up for the corkscrew. And probably about the time I hit the end of the curbing here on this side, I'll set up for the turn in into the corkscrew. So that's one line I've seen used. Actually, let's just do that. Spin the car around. Woo-hoo! The other school of thought, or the other line I've seen used, it's not one I'm necessarily comfortable with, or at least I'm not comfortable with doing purposefully. I've done it accidentally. Is the braking? It's almost you're braking not. You're still going to kind of bring it across for 7, but instead of keeping it to the right side at this point, it's almost like you're actually going to angle it back across to the left. Or you're going to take a straighter line in, and this is probably a bad example here, but the whole idea is that you're going to brake at a straight line here, and then release the brakes, you're in 2nd gear, and then you're into the corkscrew. For this car, I think the line I'll probably want the car on the right side of the track. I think it'll be more comfortable for me to set up for the corkscrew. The only danger then is if someone's really close behind and they want to try and take a shot, they could probably try and take this line kind of a la Alex Zanardi into the corkscrew. It's a comfort thing. But regardless, I think the entry to the corkscrew, regardless of your method of getting through 7 and lining up and turning in, I think 2nd gear is best. It's all about getting the gearing, getting some weight on the front of the car so it'll turn in. If you're in 3rd and you don't quite get your braking done right, the car's just going to understeer on the way in, and then you're really going to be badly set up for the exit. But 2nd gear in, and what I'm trying to do is I'm actually going to try in 2nd gear. I'll probably short shift to 3rd at this point, but I'm going to try to hook. The whole idea is I'm not even at the compression point. The compression point is just a little bit past this, where the weight really kind of sets in on it. So I'm actually want to try and get the left side on the curbing on the way in, ideally. I think this works well. So that when the compression hits the car, I can use kind of that compression and the banking here to help get the car through the corner. It just means that the back end, the opposite corner is probably going to be the lightest part. I do have to watch how aggressively I get back on the throttle and what I'm doing with the wheel. So we're going to be taking this very gingerly the first couple of laps till we get used to it. But that's why I think the short shift to third kind of helps mitigate some of the wheel spin. It gives you a little bit more play with the throttle on the way out, though I would argue you're really not going to be going balls out full throttle out of 8A or the second part of the corkscrew. Um, I will differ from the braking line a little bit where the suggested line will kind of have you go all the way out to the left side and then bring it back across. I want to tend to take a straighter line through it so that I'm not quite going all the way out. Because again, you have the banking going into 8A and you still have a little bit of the crown of the road. I just find that once you start getting the car way out there and you're trying to roll back in the throttle, I'm having a hard time keeping the back end in check. I'm trying to get back to throttle and the back end will start to, will want to step out and get a little bit of wheel spin. Um, so yeah, play around with that. These next couple of corners with this car, keeping the balance in the car is going to be tricky. Um, but I'll bring it out to third gear. I'm still not sure exactly if I want to keep it in third through here or upshift to fourth. But because I'm taking a shallower exit out, I don't have to bring the car all the way back across. Again, it's minimizing weight transfer left to right through here, setting up for 8A for turn 9. I think this is a rainy curve is what they call it. Uh, Setting up wide here, and here's my short-term memory is all crap now because I'm old. Um, I don't consciously remember really ever having to brake here because you're still trying to balance out. So you're not really going to be at full throttle either. You might get to full throttle briefly, depending on how your exit is. This is kind of a lift and let the car roll in. And what I'm trying to do in rainy curve, it is a late apex. So I am looking for the red curbing on the inside, and I do want to get the car to that curbing, but I want to try and get there late so I can hit the curbing here and roll back into the throttle. The exit of 9 is tricky because, again, you do have that slight crown of the road. You're not going to get help as you cross over because you are going to bring the car over to the right. You might feel the back end late, kind of like the same with the exit to turn 4. You might feel the back end, you know, the rear wheel spin up just a little bit. The back end's going to just kick out a little bit at the very tail end of the exit as you're trying to bring the car back across. So just be mindful there. Third gear, yeah, short shift to fourth might help, but again, depending, how much steering you have in there. So we'll play around with that. So third gear, fourth gear, usually I'm probably going to be up in fourth, bring the car back to the left, braking just at the beginning of the curbing, or we'll measure that. I'm going to use the curbing as a reference. I just can't remember if I'm braking at the start of the curbing, the midpoint of the curbing, but it is a quick brake back down to third. Again, kind of like the second half of the corkscrew. I'm going to use the banking here. I'm going to try and get the right front down on the curbing. Going to help hook the car there. Thankfully, the tire barrier is not going to be there, but at least in this race, I'm going to be playing chicken with it a little bit. Third gear out and heading to the final turn 11. You have a choice. You can wind this thing out in third gear, and you'll hit the rev limiter. Assuming you get a good exit out of 10. You'll be hitting the rev limiter just as you get to the breaking point for turn 11. I think for me, from just a cadence and rhythm, I'll probably shift it up to fourth, even though I'm going to be in fourth for a second or two. But braking for me, bring the car back to the right, is going to be, I think it is, yeah, this is where, again, I don't remember what, because these track blocks, usually I tend to use the blend line here for the pit lane as the reference point. And I think I've been braking just as I'm getting to it or just past it. Bringing the car out here. This is the final second gear corner. If you do it right, turn in. Use mid then inside curbings. Stay off the throttle. Wait. You can play around the throttle a little bit, but you really don't want to get back. If you're in second gear, even if it's short shift to third, you really don't want to get back to throttle until you get the car parallel with the right side of the track, point it down and straight, and your steering wheel unwound. If you still have any bit of steering here at this point, you try to, really get aggressive back on the throttle. The rear tires, even in third, the rear tires are going to spin up, and you're just going to find the car is going to continue to rotate and start to carry you back across the track. So you can use a little bit of this exit curbing. Again, Laguna is probably the most curb-friendly track we've run this season. Heading back down the front straight, again, rolling up through the gears. Usually I'll put it about mid-track as I get to start-finish, and that's a lap of Laguna Seca. So yeah, dealing with wheel spin and understeer, everything you've learned about this car this season, you're going to need to put it to the test here. So with that, let me go ahead and finish the test drive, and we'll get into the mock race here. Let's go ahead and hit OK. Now I am guesstimating, I'm just going to go ahead and start the race. I'm guesstimating roughly 24 laps. I'm going to run 24 laps. We'll see how long it takes me. Usually, I think usually for my mock race against the AI, I'm starting a little bit sooner than I will on Thursday, and I think I do tend to, we'll run a little bit. Oh wait, hang on. I forgot. I loaded up what I had for the Nürburgring, and I had the P1 car starting in front of me. We'll leave it go. I wanted them to start behind me, but I think they'll catch traffic quick enough, and maybe I'll be able to catch up. But same thing. I've got the 70s F1 division starting up front. I'll have the P2 cars, I think, starting, I want to say 30 seconds back. They should be going right about now. And P1 cars, I think, are going to start about 55 to 58 seconds, and then I'll start at a minute. We're going to run 24 laps. In fact, I'm going to be, well, no, I'll still be 20 seconds ahead in theory of the F1 cars. We'll run 24 laps. I think we'll see what the race timer is at the end. I'm guessing it might be a lap or two less. Let's see what happens. And again, for quick stops, there's no 15 to 25 minute pit window for the quick stop, so you can run anytime you want. I will do my quick stop typically about half distance in these practice races. Now, will I do that halfway during the actual race? Who knows? Depends on how many people are in the race and what traffic is like. Try and stay off the curbing if you can on the braking. So I release it a little bit there just to get, I find the front end then kind of regrips up a little bit to get me across to the right side of the track to set it before the last corner, or get it set up for the corkscrew. Oh, you could do that in fourth. Okay, that works. See the wheel spin in second? Yeah, that was an early turn in, and it just pushes me wide. Just throwing a little counter steer because I knew I was going to get a little aggressive on the throttle, so I'd rather just, if I'm going to stab the throttle, I'm probably instinctively just going to throw a little counter steer just to make sure the back end doesn't step out too much. Whoa. That was a little bit of a tank slapper. Still a little bit late there. Yeah, just a little bit of the throttle. And there, that's third gear. And I just took out the braking boards. Or I think I took out one of them. And it's right past the bridge. Waiting for 5. Somebody's already taken out the tire bundles at Corkscrew. Didn't quite get the run I wanted, and I'm not sure. Ooh, that would have been a time penalty there. And I knew I can get the run on the vet here down the front straight if he gives me room. Here's the later apex, not by choice, but that's what it looks like. And still the back end, just that little bit, the car just continued to rotate a little bit there, getting back to throttle. Still late. So that corner you could do in fourth or third, up to you. Can't quite get the car turned in the way I want to there. A little too aggressive on the throttle, but you can kind of see. Okay, that was too early. Oh, the Corkscrew is going to be so much fun. I have to look at the calendar, but I think just the timing of this race, I don't know that I don't think it's the Monterey Historics, next weekend. I think it's a testing weekend, but we're running a historic Formula One car at Laguna Seca within 1 or 2 weeks before probably a real Ferrari Formula One car. This car will be at Laguna. I don't know if somebody has one of those to run at the Historics, but that's late. Can't talk and drive. The understeer. Points. Let me just see if I can, without crashing, pull up telemetry. Run. Yeah. Corkscrew, not an ideal place to set up a pass. At least not going in, but I'll look going out, especially if the car gets a little too wide on the right side. That's the other reason why I like kind of taking that, if I can, taking the shallower exit out of the Corkscrew. Okay, so setting up the Mazda. Won't get him here in 3. At this point, I'm probably just going to try and set him up for the run down to 5 if I don't screw up 3 and 4. Yeah, I got the run. Inside. I know you have more downforce, but yeah. I left your room. Okay, so yeah. 21 cars. Not so good in traffic here. And a little bit oblivious to people that have runs, or was that a Pruitt fade? I don't know. I took a chance. It was kind of one of those like, maybe the AI will see me, maybe the driver tour sees me, maybe it doesn't. Much like the Mazda, we'll try the run down to 5 and see if I can make anything work there. Doesn't look like it. Excuse me. Just move the inside a little bit and protect there. Oh, that closing speed is a little bit quicker than I expected. Crossover move. I don't know that'll work on Thursday because the cars are so equal. And we're going to set up for turn 5. I know I've got an acceleration advantage. And hopefully the Ford sees me, unlike the Mazda. Nope, he does not. Ooh, that was close. All right, go, go, go. You can see the car lurch a little bit to the left there, and again, I have most of the steering dialed out, but there's still enough. There's still enough. The back end, it's like, okay, let's. All right, I'm gonna try the outside this time. Wasn't sure if the driver car was going to come back across or not, but that was good. Good racing there. It's not impossible to have good racing with the driver tires. It's just all about the probability of having a good race with the driver tires. 11, we will pit at the end of lap 12. Why did I do that? Didn't need to downshift to third. Keep it, or downshift to second. Keep it in third. So pushes on the way in. A little too far to the inside there. There, drop the left sides there. Not the left sides, drop the right sides out. And, just backed out of the throttle, kept the car straight, and as soon as, we hit the pavement a little further up, that's when I brought the car back across. So, no sudden movements. So pit in, again, one of the easier pit ins at Laguna. Now, like Le Mans, for Thursday, we're going to use the full length of the pit exit lane. So we're actually going to go down the hill through the Andretti hairpin in the pit lane and then merge back on there. Unfortunately, in free playing like that, we've got tire bundles, so I can't really demonstrate that. But we have done enough races here. I think you guys can sort it out. But I'll join late down here. So I don't know if I can get back now. I'm not even going to try. Oh, hello, prototypes. Sorry, I'm going slow. So you'll rejoin there on the left side. You can see where it joins back at the track. Hopefully, when we get into the next Forza Motorsport, tracks like Laguna, Le Mans, Daytona, I'd like to be able to use the full length, use the same pit exit that the real races use. Indy, pitting. If you're doing the Indy Oval, you merge back on out of turn 2. Whoop, a little too much. Watching the car in front, just not sure where he's going. We'll take advantage of that opening. Thank you very much. We have a little bit of room because I knew it was coming. Alright, so I think we're in the group of this pack of cars, everybody that's in front of me in this immediate group. I think we've all pitted. So my challenge now is, because we know the P1 cars are way faster than me, on a clear track. But I have a traffic advantage where I can get through traffic a little bit easier in the driver tires count. So That's my challenge. I need to be able to work traffic to get up to him and then get past him, hopefully with still enough traffic to navigate that. Yeah, that's bad on me. I'm sorry. There you go. Excuse me. As I was saying, that hopefully I can get get past him as long as I don't crash, with still enough traffic to navigate that then I can put a little distance. But after those last couple of turns, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. Again, questionable racecraft, and I'm not always talking about the driver tires with that. One car separating us. We'll get past the McLaren here down to turn 5. P1's taking a look. Such the horsepower and acceleration advantage. It's kind of one of those, you should not have any problems getting past that F1 car going up the hill. Yeah, I'm overestimating an LMP1 car's capabilities compared to a 1970s F1 car. I think he was a little insulted by that. Sorry. A lot of traffic. All right. So, if you go back and watch that, I stabbed the throttle and I still have too much steering on the wheel. Back end took off, so now I gotta pass the Porsche all over again. I'm starting to get impatient now, but it just, again, it's like that Porsche should not have had any problems just outpowering the Brabham up the hill. And that's a dangerous place to try and stick a pass. Race with Porsche. Brabham's going to block us both. It's me being greedy. Excuse me, Audi. Use that braking advantage. Outbrake that Brabham. Come on. There you go. Out accelerate him up the hill. Running out of traffic. Tempting. Oh my! Drivatars. Looking forward to seeing what the next Forza can do with AI. We'll put them to the test. But, wow, I mean, if, again, it's talking about Porsche not being able to work traffic all that well. But the Audi, I have to be mindful of the Audi behind me, because even that, just following before, I think I, for whatever reason, I've got a little bit of acceleration advantage. But those P1 cars, ridiculous on the brakes compared to me. And that Audi just went argy-bargy on the Brown Hawk behind me. Ah, come on. Always attempting, 10 is always tempting to try and make a pass, but it really isn't. Neither's 11 if you don't get fully alongside. A little bit of a run. We're gonna try here. Just a little bit, but I think we both made it through without contact. Wow. I don't know why they are oblivious to anybody beside them going into 5. There's no reason why that Drivatar should have turned in. Was it an aggressive pass under braking? Yes, but it's not like I did it at the last minute where we made, you know, my front corner to his rear corner contact. It was kind of the opposite. Again, we will see how the Drivatars. Well, actually, technically, I don't think it is the Drivatar system, or if it is, it's a highly revised Drivatar system. But interesting to see what improvements they've made, you know, to the AI, just as far as pathing. Really, I think the two biggest issues, you know, in the current Drivatar system, or at least the current one out here that we race against, is, you know, pathing and just their awareness. Okay, we're in 6th place, 4 laps to go, 15 seconds back. Again, this comes back to, I don't know, looks like it's all the 70s F1s in front of us. Wouldn't surprise me if a few of them still have to pit, but even with 15 seconds, I'm pretty sure everybody's made their quick stop by now. And still understeering at the top of corkscrew. Laps to go. And compared to the braking line, I tend to take an earlier turn in. I think it's always harder for me to see a late turn in there. It's more often than not, if I try to do that, then I'm turning in way too late and then going off on the left side on exit. Oh, come on. Don't miss a shift. So if for braking at 7 heading into top of the hill there at the corkscrew, if you stay on the brakes all the way through, the car's going to push. It's going to understeer to the inside for that inside line into the corkscrew. But if you release it, you'll have that moment where you can, if you do the initial braking, release, then reapply, that'll give you the steering to bring the car to the right side, depending on the line you want to take into the corkscrew. Yeah, this car does understeer a bit under heavy braking. Oh, that's kind of understandable because you're applying the brakes to try and slow the tires down, and then you're going to try and turn on top of that. The car's gonna be like, I don't know if I like doing that. Don't hit me. That one might have been partly on me, but who knows? You can even hear, I mean, if you pay attention to the engine noise, you'll even hear a little bit of the engine revs will start to spike a little bit if the back end starts to step out, or you start spinning up the rear tires. A little bit late. So this would be, yeah, nope. This would be a bit of a dive bomb to try and not break the Lotus into the hairpin here. So I will back off a little bit, and we will try and set up the run down to 5, and hopefully not get hit. All right. Bit of understeer there. We'll just salvage that corner as best we can. Just going to hold the brakes this time. Yeah, I lose a little bit of that steering. Or I have to, I can make up for it if I stay on the brakes, by giving a little, inputting a little more steering. But, this last time, well, let's see what happens here. Well, I should be by this car by turn 5. So then I'll do what I've been doing. And the whole idea is, if what I think is happening is I'll apply the brakes, heading into 7, release it briefly. And in doing that, the car's then going to kind of shift to the right. And I shouldn't have to put really dial any more steering in for that to happen before I get back on the brakes. Easier to show than to describe. Same thing, on your right, on your right, on your right. I'm putting a little bit more steering in, but that was halfway decent. And again, just with Forza in general, there's always that moment of understeer when you turn in, and then the car will hook up. So just be mindful of that as well. And that is 24 laps of Laguna Seca and the 76 Ferrari 312. I just saw the race timer. It's just shy of 35 minutes. So, yeah, 34. Yeah, 34:30. Okay, so yeah, I would say, the race on Thursday might be 22 to 23 laps, because I think just with the bucket delays, that'll probably still kind of keep it in that low 30. Between 32 to 35 minutes. But that's going to be it for Laguna. I'm going to take a quick break to jot a few things down. Then we'll come back and we'll do race two for this Thursday, for the kind of the finale for this car at Long Beach. Home race for me. So hope you guys have had a great Sunday, and we'll see you soon. Happy racing.